Here are 7 fun facts about the American goldfinch. Fact number 1. The same bird twice. Here's a question. Have you ever looked at a dull olive yellow bird at your feeder in winter and thought, that looks like a goldfinch, but something's off? That was a goldfinch. It just looked completely different than it will in a few months. The American goldfinch is one of the very few songbirds in North America that undergoes a complete molt twice a year, meaning it replaces every single feather on its body 2 times annually. Most songbirds molt once, maybe touching up a few feathers here and there. The goldfinch does a full wardrobe change twice. In summer, the male is that iconic, almost electric yellow. Bright black wings, a bold black cap on his forehead, crisp white wing bars. That's the bird everyone pictures when they hear goldfinch. In winter, he becomes something almost unrecognizable. Muted olive brown, the black cap gone, the yellow faded to a pale wash. Females are similarly drab year-round, but also shift between seasons. The transformation is dramatic enough that people genuinely report seeing 2 different birds in their feeders across the year, not realizing they're watching the same animal. Birding forums are full of people posting winter goldfinch photos asking, what is this mystery bird? It's one of the most extreme seasonal appearance changes in the entire songbird world, and it's happening right in your backyard. Fact number 2. The potato chip bird. If you spend any time watching goldfinches, you'll notice something about the way they fly. It's not a straight line. It's a dip and rise pattern, almost like they're riding invisible waves through the air. This is called undulating flight, and it's characteristic of many finches. But what makes goldfinches especially fun to identify is the sound they make while doing it. While in flight, goldfinches frequently call out with a little cheerful phrase that some birders have phonetically translated as potato chip. Say it out loud. Potato chip. Once you hear it transcribed that way, you may never unhear it. That said, personally, I don't hear it. This call is their contact note, the equivalent of a little verbal wave to other goldfinches, and because they often fly in loose flocks, you might hear multiple birds calling it back and forth as they bounce through the sky together. Whether or not you can hear the potato chip that some do, you can identify American goldfinches before you ever see them just by hearing that bouncy little phrase rippling overhead. It's one of the most charming and distinctive sounds in the backyard bird world. Fact number 3. They're strict vegetarians, and what that costs a cowbird. Here's a fact that sounds simple, but has some pretty remarkable downstream consequences. The American goldfinch is one of the strictest vegetarians in the songbird world. While most songbirds, even seed-loving ones, feed their nestlings insects during the breeding season because protein is essential for rapid growth, goldfinches do not. They feed their chicks almost entirely regurgitated plant material, seeds, pulp, and mashed up plant matter. No bugs. Now here's where it gets interesting. You may have heard of the brown-headed cowbird, a species that lays its eggs in other birds' nests and let those birds raise its chicks. It's a strategy called brood parasitism, and it's wildly successful across hundreds of host species. The cowbird chick hatches early, grows fast, and outcompetes the host's own chicks for food. But cowbirds have met their match in the goldfinch. When a cowbird egg hatches in a goldfinch nest and the chick is fed that strict plant-based diet, the cowbird chick cannot survive. It typically dies within just a few days because it isn't getting the animal protein it needs to develop. The goldfinch's diet, which might seem like a limitation, turns out to be an accidental defense against one of nature's most successful nest parasites. Fact number 4. The nest, the spider silk, and the solo dad. Let's talk about how goldfinches actually build a nest, because it's a more impressive operation than it might sound. The female does all of it. While she works, the male follows her around singing. That's his contribution at this stage. She scouts a location, she gathers the materials, she builds a cup. He serenades. The nest itself is a tightly woven cup of plant fibers, grasses, and rootlets. But what makes it remarkable is how she holds it together. Spider silk. The female actively seeks out spider webs and uses the silk to lash the nest's foundation to the supporting branches. Think about what that actually requires. Finding enough usable webbing, collecting it without destroying it, and then working it into the structure of the nest. Cornell Lamb notes that the finished nest is woven so tightly it can actually hold water. The inside is lined with soft thistle and milkweed down, the same fluffy material goldfinches eat the seeds from. And because the silk gives the nest elasticity, it stretches as the chicks grow, expanding around them rather than constraining them. Now here's where the male's easy days come to an end. Once the eggs hatch, the male starts taking on more and more of the feeding work. As the weeks pass, the female begins stepping back, and eventually she may abandon the nest entirely, find a different mate, and start a second brood. That leaves the original male to bring the first brood all the way to independence on his own. The bird who spent the early weeks following his mate around singing has now become a single parent. He started the season as a cheerleader. He ends it doing all the work. Check out this great American Goldfinch coffee mug. To get one of your own, just go to the store in the description below. Fact number 5. The Nyjer Seed Specialist. If you've ever set up a bird feeder, you know that different birds prefer different seeds. Sunflower seeds draw cardinals and chickadees. Millet attracts sparrows. But there's one seed that goldfinches go absolutely wild for, and it has a name that's misleading on 2 counts. It's called Nyjer seed, sometimes spelled Niger, and it's frequently marketed as thistle seed at garden centers. Here's the truth. Nyjer is neither from Niger, the country, nor is it a true thistle. It's actually the seed of a plant called Guizonia abyssinica, originally from Ethiopia. The thistle name stuck because the seeds look similar to thistle seeds, and goldfinches respond to both with the same level of enthusiasm. Extreme. Goldfinches are more strictly seed dependent than almost any other common backyard songbird. They have specialized bills designed for extracting seeds from plants, and they will patiently wait out larger, more aggressive birds and feeders to get what they came for. If you want to attract goldfinches specifically and cut down on competition from bigger birds, the solution is a dedicated Nyjer feeder, a tube feeder with very small ports that only finch-sized bills can access. Set one of those up and you may find yourself with a loyal flock of goldfinches treating your yard like their personal dining room. Fact number 6. Lifespan. For a small bird, the American goldfinch can live a surprisingly long time, though most of them don't. The typical wild goldfinch lives somewhere between 3 and 6 years. Predation is the main reason the average stays low. Small birds have a lot of enemies, but the ones that make it through those early vulnerable years can do significantly better than that. Goldfinches are capable of reaching 7 to 10 years in the wild, which is genuinely impressive for a songbird this size. The record holder drives that point home. According to the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, the oldest known American goldfinch was 10 years and 9 months old when it was recaptured and re-released during a banding operation in Maryland. That bird has been caught, banded, released, and then found again nearly 11 years later, still going. 10 years and 9 months, in a bird that weighs less than half an ounce. Fact number 7. Migration. American goldfinches are migratory, but the pattern is more interesting than a simple fly south, come back north story. In the northern parts of their range, Canada and the northern tier of the U.S., Goldfinches are strictly summer birds. They arrive with the warmth, breed, and head south as temperatures drop. But across much of the middle and southern U.S., goldfinches can be year-round residents or winter visitors, depending on local conditions and food availability. This means that depending on where you live, you might actually be seeing completely different individual goldfinches in summer versus winter. The birds that spent winter at your feeders have gone north to breed, and a fresh wave of birds from further north has arrived to spend the cold months with you. Their movements are closely tied to food, specifically seed availability. Goldfinches are considered somewhat nomadic within their range, following seed crops rather than sticking to a rigid migration route. In years when seeds are abundant, they may barely move at all. In lean years, flocks can travel much greater distances. Goldfinches typically migrate in loose, sociable flocks, and because they're so vocal, a migrating flock passing overhead is hard to miss. A bouncing stream of birds cawing potato chip across the sky, heading to wherever the seeds are. That's 7 facts about the American goldfinch, a bird that manages to be completely familiar and genuinely surprising at the same time. The twice-a-year molt, the potato chip call, a diet so plant-based it accidentally defeats nest parasites. The spider-soaked nest of the solo dad, the Nyjer obsession, and a tiny bird that can quietly rack up nearly 11 years in the wild. Every one of those things is happening in fields, feeders, and backyards all across North America, and most people walk right past it. The mug is in the store. The link is in the description. Just click to get your own. And don't forget to subscribe. There are a lot more birds to cover.